The docking clamps locked onto the hull with a metal groan that echoed through the cargo bay. Captain Jiho shut down the main engines and leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. Another station, another cargo run. Valon Station hung in the viewport like a massive steel flower, its petals made of docking arms and market sections. Hundreds of ships crawled across its surface like insects. Jiho stood and stretched his back. He had been flying freight for 12 years now, ever since he left Earth's colonies. The work was honest and kept him away from complicated things like politics and relationships. He liked it that way. The station manager's voice crackled through the comm system. Docking Bay 17. You have 6 hours to load and depart. Late fees apply after that. Understood, Jiho replied. He grabbed his data pad and headed down to the cargo bay. Valon Station smelled like oil and ozone and something else he could never quite name. Alien bodies moved past him in the corridors. Tall Valon people with their silver skin and too many joints. Short Kresh with their rocky hides and small eyes. Dozens of other species he didn't know the names of. They all ignored him. Humans were still new to the galaxy. Still strange to most aliens. The cargo master met him at Bay 17. The alien was Valon, towering over Jiho by at least 2 feet. His face had no expression that Jiho could read. 70 containers, the cargo master said. Industrial parts. Manifest loaded to your pad. Jiho checked the data. Standard stuff. I'll start loading. Use the lower platforms, the cargo master said. The good loaders are busy. Jiho nodded and headed down. The lower platforms were in the waste reclamation section, where the station's garbage got processed. The air was worse here. Hot and thick. He could hear machinery grinding somewhere deep in the walls. 3 loading drones waited by the cargo containers, but they looked broken. Jiho sighed. This would take longer than 6 hours. A small figure moved near the containers. At first, Jiho thought it was a child. Then he saw it was a girl. Maybe 17 or 18 years old. She was thin, too thin, with skin that showed her bones underneath. Her features were strange, a mix that didn't quite match. Half Valon silver skin, half Kresh rocky texture. Her eyes were different colors. She was trying to move one of the containers with her bare hands. It was obviously too heavy. But she kept pushing. A Valon overseer appeared from the shadows. He was massive, wearing some kind of authority uniform. He grabbed the girl by her arm and yanked her away from the container. Worthless hybrid, the overseer snarled. His voice was loud enough for Jiho to hear. You think you can steal from these containers? The girl shook her head quickly. No, I was just... The overseer hit her. His hand was the size of her head. She fell to the metal floor with a sound that made Jiho's stomach tight. You eat when I say you eat, the overseer said. You work when I say you work. You are nothing. You understand? Nothing. The girl curled up on the floor, protecting her head. The overseer kicked her once, twice. Blood appeared on the metal grating. Other aliens watched from nearby platforms. None of them moved. Some looked away. Others watched with what might have been approval. Jiho's feet moved before his brain caught up. He crossed the platform in seconds. Hey, he said. His voice came out harder than he intended. Stop. The overseer turned. His eyes focused on Jiho like targeting lasers. Human, this is station business. Leave. You're beating someone half your size, Jiho said. That's not business. That's just cruel. And the overseer's face did something that might have been a smile. She is hybrid. Mixed blood. She has no rights. She is property of the station. She's a person, Jiho said. She is waste, the overseer replied. Like all hybrids. Neither species wants them. We keep them because they are useful for cleaning and dyeing in places where real people should not go. The girl was still on the ground, not moving. Blood dripped from her mouth. I want to file a complaint, Jiho said. The overseer laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. File what you want, human. but interfere again, and you lose your trading license. The guild has rules. You follow them, or you leave. 2 station security guards appeared. They were Kresh, built like walking boulders. Their weapons were visible on their belts. Problem here? One asked. The human is confused about station property, the overseer said. The security guard looked at Jiho. Hybrids are station property. Interference with property is a crime. Do you understand? Jiho looked at the girl on the ground. She was looking at him now, her mismatched eyes wide with something he couldn't name. Fear, maybe. Or surprise that anyone had stopped at all. Every smart part of his brain told him to walk away. He had cargo to load. He had schedules to keep. He had a life that worked because he didn't make trouble. But he had grown up hearing stories about Earth before humans went to space, when some people were treated as property, when some people were considered worthless because of how they looked or where they came from. He had learned about the wars that happened, the pain that lasted generations, because people forgot one simple thing: everyone mattered. How much? Jiho asked. The overseer's expression changed. What? How much to transfer her contract to me? Jiho pulled out his credit chip. Name your price. The security guards looked at each other. The overseer made a sound that might have been confusion or amusement. You want to buy a hybrid? The overseer asked. Why? They are weak. They break easily. They cannot do real work. That's my business, Jiho said. Do you want the credits or not? The overseer thought for a moment. Then he named a price. It was ridiculous, 3 times what a skilled worker would cost. Jiho's entire profit from this cargo run, and the next 2. He transferred the credits anyway. The overseer's device beeped. He looked surprised that Jiho actually paid. He entered something on his pad, and the girl's status changed from station property to private contract. She is yours, the overseer said. He sounded disappointed. But you will regret this. Human. Hybrids are worthless. They always have been. They always will be. Jiho walked over to the girl and knelt down. She flinched away from him. I'm not going to hurt you, he said softly. Can you walk? She nodded. But when she tried to stand, her legs shook. Jiho helped her up carefully. She weighed almost nothing. What is your name? He asked. She stared at him like he had spoken in a language she didn't know, like no one had ever asked her that before. Hana, she whispered. My name is Hana. Okay, Hana, Jiho said. Let's get out of here. He helped her to his ship, leaving the cargo containers behind. The station could keep them. Some things were more important than profit. As his ship undocked from Valon Station an hour later, Hana sat in the cargo bay with a blanket around her shoulders. She was still shaking, still confused, still waiting for the pain to start again. Because in her experience, kindness was always a trap. But Jiho just flew his ship into the black, away from the station, away from the overseer, away from everything that had told her she was nothing. Maybe, she thought, just maybe, he was different. The first 3 days, Hana did not speak. She sat in the small cabin Jiho had given her and waited. Waited for the beating. Waited for the demands. Waited for him to show his true purpose for buying her. But Jiho just brought her food 3 times a day and left it by her door. On the 4th day, she ate some of it. The food was simple, rice and vegetables and some kind of protein, but it was more than she usually got in a week. Her stomach hurt from not being used to real meals. On the 5th day, Jiho knocked on her door. She jumped at the sound. Hana, he said through the door. I'm not going to hurt you, but I'd like to talk. You can say no. She didn't answer. After a minute, his footsteps walked away. On the 7th day, she left her cabin. Her legs were stronger now, from the food and rest. She walked carefully through the ship's corridors. The ship was small, designed for a crew of 3 or 4. Everything was clean and organized. Human writing covered the walls, labels and warnings in a language she was learning to recognize. She found Jiho in the cockpit, staring at navigation charts. He looked tired. She wondered if he regretted buying her. Hi, he said when he noticed her. He didn't smile too big or move too fast. Feeling better? She nodded slightly. Are you hungry? There's more food in the galley. Help yourself to whatever you want. She stared at him. Why? The word came out like a broken thing. Why what? He asked. Why are you doing this? Her voice was rough from not using it. What do you want from me? Jiho was quiet for a moment. I don't want anything from you. You're not a slave here. You're not property. Then what am I? Hana asked. The question felt dangerous. She had been property her whole life. If she wasn't that, she didn't know what she was. You're a person, Jiho said simply. That's all, just a person. Those words didn't make sense to her. She had never been just a person before. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. Hana tensed, ready to run. But it was just another human. A man with grease on his hands and a frown on his face. Captain, the coolant system is acting up again, the man said. Then he noticed Hana. His frown disappeared. Oh, you must be Hana. I'm Minho. I keep this rust bucket flying. Hana pressed herself against the wall, making herself small. Minho noticed and stopped walking toward her. It's okay, Minho said. His voice was gentle. I'm just the engineer. I promise I'm less scary than I look. A woman appeared behind him. She was younger, with kind eyes and medical symbols on her uniform. Minho, you're scaring her. Hi. Hana. I'm Yuna. I'm the ship's medic. Would it be okay if I checked your injuries? Only if you're comfortable. Hana looked at Jiho. He nodded slightly. Your choice, he said. Slowly, Hana nodded. Yuna's examination was gentle, but her face grew darker as she worked. The bruises, the old breaks that had healed wrong, the scars from burns and cuts. When she finished, Yuna had tears in her eyes. How long? Yuna asked quietly. Since I was 6, Hana whispered. 11 years. Yuna's hands shook as she put away her medical scanner. No one should go through that. No one. Over the following weeks, Hana slowly learned about humans. They were strange people with strange ideas. They believed in something they called rights, that every person had just for existing. They believed in dignity and choice and other concepts that made no sense to the galaxy she knew. Minho taught her about the ship's engines. He showed her how the coolant system worked, where the power lines ran, how to fix things when they broke. He never got angry when she made mistakes. He just showed her again. Yuna made sure she ate properly and slept enough. She gave her medicine for the pain that Hana had lived with so long she forgot it wasn't normal. Jiho taught her to read human writing. He explained how his ship worked, where they went, what they carried. He treated her opinions like they mattered. One day, a month after leaving Valon Station, an alarm went off. A coolant line had burst in a section of the ship that was too small for Minho to fit into. They would have to shut down the engines and spend a week making repairs. I can fit, Hana said quietly. They all turned to look at her. The space, she said. I can fit. I used to clean the small spaces on the station. Minho started to shake his head. It's dangerous. The coolant is toxic and… I know toxic, Hana said. I can hold my breath for 4 minutes. My Kresh side and my Valon side can see in the dark and feel temperature changes. I can do this. Jiho looked at her carefully. You don't have to prove anything to us. I know, Hana said, but I want to help. You all helped me. Let me help you. They gave her a breathing mask and protective gloves. Hana crawled into the small service tunnel that even Minho couldn't reach. It was dark and hot, and the coolant fumes made her eyes water. But her mixed heritage, the thing that had made her worthless to everyone else, made this possible. She could see the heat patterns through the walls, spotting the exact location of the leak. Her small fingers could reach bolts that larger hands couldn't touch. In 20 minutes, she had the line repaired. When she crawled out, all 3 humans were staring at her. That would have taken me a week, Minho said. You did it in 20 minutes. Hana felt something strange in her chest. Something warm. She realized it was pride. That night, Jiho's comm system beeped with an incoming message. He read it, and his face went hard. Hana was learning to read human expressions now. This one was anger, mixed with worry. "What is it?" she asked. Jiho showed her the message. It was from the Veilon Guild. They were demanding her return. They claimed Jiho had violated trafficking laws. The penalty was losing his ship, and 10 years in a prison station. Hana felt her new world crashing down. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'll go back. I don't want you to lose everything because of me." "No," Jiho said firmly. "But your ship is just a ship?" Jiho interrupted. "You're a person. The choice is easy." Minho and Yuna had come to the cockpit. Yuna put a hand on Hana's shoulder. "We stick together," she said. "That's what crew means." "But I'm not crew," Hana said. "I'm just—" "You fixed our coolant system in 20 minutes, Minho said. "You've been helping me with repairs every day. You're crew." Jiho deleted the message without responding. He entered new coordinates into the navigation system. A course that took them away from Veilon Guild space, out toward the edges where fewer questions got asked. "We'll figure this out," he said. "Together." Hana felt tears on her face. She didn't know when she had started crying. Yuna pulled her into a hug, and Hana didn't flinch away. She let herself be held. That night, lying in her cabin, Hana thought about what Jiho had said. "You're not cargo, you're crew now." For the first time in her life, she belonged somewhere. She mattered to someone. She was worth something. Not because of what she could do, but because of who she was. It was terrifying, and it was wonderful. Outside her window, the stars streamed past as the ship flew deeper into the unknown. But Hana wasn't afraid anymore. She had people who would stand beside her. She had found something the galaxy said didn't exist for people like her. She had found a family. The message came through on every channel. Public and private. Wanted notices with Hana's face. Bounty posts with numbers that made Jiho's stomach hurt. The Veilon Guild wasn't just demanding her return anymore. They were paying for it. 50,000 credits, Minho read from his screen. "That's enough to buy 3 ships like this one." "They're serious," Yuna said quietly. She was looking at her medical pad, which showed news from across the sector. "Every bounty hunter from here to the core systems will be looking for us." Hana sat at the galley table, staring at her hands. Her hands that were half silver, half stone. The hands that marked her as different, as worthless, as someone who should never have existed. "I should leave," she said. "You could drop me at an outer colony, tell them I escaped, take the ship and go." "No," Jiho said. He didn't look up from his navigation charts. "But 50,000 credits." "No," Jiho repeated, this time looking at her. "We don't trade people. Not for any amount." "Why not?" Hana's voice broke. "Why are you risking everything? I don't understand. In the whole galaxy, I've never met anyone who would do what you're doing. It doesn't make sense." Jiho was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft. "My grandmother told me stories when I was young. Stories about Earth. Before we went to space, she told me about times when people like you and me were treated as property. When humans decided other humans were worthless because of their skin, or where they were born, or who their parents were." He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "We nearly destroyed ourselves over it. Wars that killed millions. Hate that poisoned generations. And when we finally stopped, when we finally learned, we made a promise. Never again. Every person has worth. Every person matters. Not because of what they can do, or how they look, but just because they exist." "But I'm not human," Hana whispered. Jiho turned to look at her. "Doesn't matter. The lesson applies to everyone. The moment we start deciding who deserves dignity and who doesn't, we become the people my grandmother warned me about. We become the monsters." Minho nodded. "Besides, you're crew. We don't abandon crew." Yuna reached across the table and took Hana's hand. "Your family." Hana felt the tears coming again. She cried more now than she had in her entire life before. On the station. Crying got you beaten. Here, it was okay to feel things. The ship's alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across every surface. Contact, Minho shouted, running to his station. 3 ships. Fast attack class. They just dropped out of hyperspace behind us. Jiho jumped to the cockpit. His fingers flew across the controls. How did they find us? Tracking beacon, Yuna said, checking her scanner. Must have been planted at the last station. The comm system crackled to life. A voice came through, calm and cold. Human vessel. This is Hunter Taman. You have stolen property of the Valon Guild. Return the hybrid, and you will not be harmed. Refuse, and we will take her by force. Jiho grabbed the comm. She's not property. She's a person. Taman laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Humans and your strange ideas. The galaxy has rules. You cannot change them because you don't like them. Surrender the hybrid. No, Jiho said simply. Then you die, Taman replied. The comm went dead. Weapons fire lit up the space around them. The ship shook as energy blasts hit the shields. Warning lights exploded across every console. Shields at 60%, Minho called out. We can't take much more of this. Jiho pushed the engines hard, weaving between asteroids in a nearby field. The pursuing ships were faster, but his ship was smaller. He could fit through spaces they couldn't. There, Hana said suddenly. She was looking at a scanner display. That asteroid cluster, the gaps between them. Those gaps are too small, Minho said. We'd get crushed. No, Hana said, her mismatched eyes seeing patterns the others couldn't. Her hybrid vision could process spatial information in ways pure Valon or pure Kresh couldn't. There's a path. I can see it. Trust me. Another blast rocked the ship. Shields dropped to 40%. Jiho looked at Hana. Then he nodded. Tell me where to go. Hana stood behind him, her hands on the back of his chair, her eyes locked on the scanner. Left. Hard left. Now straight. Wait. Wait. Right turn. Sharp. The ship twisted through gaps between asteroids that looked impossible. Space rocks the size of buildings passed within meters of the hull. The pursuing ships tried to follow, but they were too large. Warning alarms screamed from their ships as they had to pull back. Down, Hana said. Dive down and cut engines. Jiho didn't question. He dropped the ship into a canyon between 2 massive asteroids and shut down everything except life support. The ship went dark and silent. They waited. The pursuing ships flew past overhead, searching. Minutes passed like hours. Hana held her breath, watching the scanner with her unique vision that could see heat signatures and movement patterns. Finally, the enemy ships moved away, searching elsewhere. They're gone, Hana whispered. Minho let out a breath he'd been holding. That was incredible. How did you see that path? My eyes, Hana said. They work differently. See patterns. I didn't know it was useful until now. Yuna smiled. The things they said made you worthless are what saved us. They restarted the engines quietly and slipped away from the asteroid field on a new course. Jiho set the navigation for the edge of civilized space, where the maps got fuzzy and the law got flexible. But as they jumped to hyperspace, another message came through. Taman's voice, still cold, still certain, clever, human. But this isn't over. The galaxy is large, but not infinite. I will find you. I will collect what I am owed. Run, as far as you like. It only delays the inevitable. Hana looked at the message display, feeling cold despite the warm air in the cabin. He won't stop. The guild is paying him too much. Then we need to go somewhere the guild can't reach, Jiho said. He pulled up a star map and pointed to a cluster of stars on the far side. Human space. Our colonies. Different laws apply there. Will they help? Hana asked. I'm not human. Doesn't matter, Jiho said. Human law says every sapient being has rights. They'll have to give you a hearing at least. It's a chance. Minho checked their fuel and supplies. It's a 3-week journey. We'll have to stop once for fuel and food. Then we stop smart, Yuna said. Automated stations only. No people who can report us. They made the jump, leaving the sector behind. As the stars stretched into lines around them, Hana stood at the window and watched. She was running. Again. Like she'd been running her whole life. But this time was different. This time, she wasn't running alone. This time, she had people who thought she was worth protecting, who believed she mattered. She touched the cold glass of the window and made a silent promise. When they reached human space, she would fight. Not just for herself, but for every hybrid, every outcast, every person the galaxy had decided was worthless. They had called her nothing her whole life. It was time to prove them wrong. The Sejong colonial ring appeared in the viewport like a string of pearls wrapped around a blue-green planet. Human stations connected by transport tubes, rotating slowly in orbit. Hana had never seen anything so organized, so peaceful. Home, Minho said softly. Or close enough. The ship's comm crackled to life. Unidentified vessel. This is Sejong Station Control. Please transmit your registration and purpose. Jiho took a deep breath. This was the moment. Once they entered human space officially, there was no going back. This is Captain Jiho, of the Civilian Transport Times Daehan Dawn *. Requesting emergency asylum for a passenger. Silence. Then, stand by for security scan. Silence. Stand by for security scan. Blue light washed over the ship. Hana felt her hands shaking. She didn't know what would happen next. Would humans be different? Like Jiho said? Or would they see her the way every other species did? Scan complete. You are cleared for docking at Bay 4. A legal representative will meet you. Welcome to Sejong, Captain. The docking process was smooth. As the airlock connected, Hana could see through the windows into the station. Humans everywhere. Hundreds of them. Different colors, different clothes, different everything. Children ran through corridors playing. People laughed and talked. A small robot rolled past, carrying packages. It's so loud, Hana whispered. Yuna smiled. That's humans for you. We're not quiet people. The airlock opened. 3 people waited outside. 2 were security officers in blue uniforms. The third was a woman in formal clothes, carrying a data pad. Captain Jiho? The woman asked. Her voice was professional but not unkind. I'm Representative Yunji, from the Colonial Legal Office. You've requested asylum for a passenger? Yes, Jiho said. This is Hana. She was a slave on Veilon Station. I purchased her freedom. But the Veilon Guild is demanding her return. Representative Yunji looked at Hana. Her expression didn't change. Didn't show disgust or surprise at Hana's mixed features. She just nodded. I see. Hana, do you want to stay in human space? Hana's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. Do you fear for your safety if you return to Veilon territory? Yes. Representative Yunji made notes on her pad. Then we'll file for formal asylum. There will be a hearing. The Veilon Guild has already submitted an extradition request. You'll need to testify. Testify? Hana asked. Tell your story. To a judge. She'll decide if you can stay. Fear gripped Hana's chest. What if the judge says no? Fear. Representative Yunji's expression softened slightly. Then we appeal. But Judge Salmon is fair. She'll listen. That's all we can ask. The next 3 days were strange. Hana stayed in a temporary residence on the station. It was clean and safe, with a bed that was softer than anything she'd ever touched. She could order food from a computer, and it arrived within minutes. No one hit her. No one called her worthless, but she was afraid every moment. This couldn't be real. It couldn't last. Yuna visited every day, bringing her clothes that actually fit and teaching her about human customs. Minho brought her technical puzzles to solve, keeping her mind busy. Jiho spent his time talking to lawyers, preparing for the hearing. On the morning of the hearing, Hana put on the formal clothes Yuna had brought. They felt strange, too nice for someone like her. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. The courtroom was smaller than she expected, clean white walls, rows of seats. At the front, a raised platform where Judge Salmon sat. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. The Valon Guild had sent their lawyer through video link. He appeared on a large screen, his silver skin and too many joints, making him look alien even through the display. "This is a simple matter," the guild lawyer said. His voice was smooth, confident. "The hybrid, known as Hana, is station property, registered, and legal. Captain Jiho purchased a fraudulent transfer. Human interference in guild business violates 3 separate trade agreements. Return the hybrid, and we'll consider the matter closed." Judge Salmon looked at her notes. "Representative Yunji?" Unji stood. "Your Honor, human law is clear. No sapient being can be property. Hana is sapient. She has thoughts, feelings, dreams. Under our law, she has rights. The Valon Guild's claim is invalid. Human law doesn't apply to guild stations," the guild lawyer argued. "You cannot force your values on the entire galaxy." "We're not forcing anything," Unji replied. "But within human space, human law applies. And human law says Hana is a person, not property." Judge Salmon turned her sharp eyes to Hana. "I'd like to hear from Hana herself. Hana, would you please stand?" 8TT6. Hana's legs shook as she stood. Every eye in the room was on her. She wanted to run, to hide, to disappear like she'd learned to do on the station. "Tell me about your life on Valon Station," Judge Salmon said gently. Hana's voice cracked. I was born there. My mother left me because I was mixed. Wrong. The station kept me because I could fit in small spaces. Clean, dangerous areas. They said I was useful. How were you treated?" The words came slowly at first, then faster. 11 years of pain poured out. The beatings when she was too slow. The starvation when food was scarce. The way they called her it instead of she. The scars that covered her body from work in toxic areas without protection. The nights she prayed to die because death seemed kinder than another day. The courtroom was silent when she finished. Judge Salmon's expression hadn't changed, but her hands gripped the edge of her desk. "And Captain Jiho?" the judge asked. "How has he treated you?" "Like I'm a person," Hana whispered. "He gave me food and a room and never asked for anything. His crew taught me things. Made me feel like I matter. I don't understand why, but I'm grateful." Judge Salmon looked at the guild lawyer. "You call this being property? You call this treatment acceptable?" "It is within guild regulations," the lawyer said stiffly. "Hybrids are—" "Stop," Judge Salmon said. Her voice was hard. "I don't want to hear guild regulations. I want to hear you tell me that what I just heard is acceptable. Look at this girl, and tell me she deserves to be property." The lawyer was quiet. Judge Salmon turned back to her notes. She wrote for several minutes while everyone waited. Finally, she looked up. "My ruling is as follows," she said. "Hana is a sapient being. Under human law, sapient beings cannot be property. The Valon Guild's claim is denied. Hana is granted immediate asylum and, if she chooses, a path to human citizenship." The courtroom erupted. The guild lawyer was shouting about diplomatic incidents and trade violations. Unji was shaking Jiho's hand. Minho and Yuna were cheering. Hana just stood there, tears running down her face. Free. She was free. Judge Salmon banged her gavel. "Furthermore, I'm sending a recommendation to the Colonial Council. No sapient being from any species will be returned to slavery from human space. If other species don't like it, they can stop trading with us. Some things matter more than profit." That night, Hana stood on an observation deck, looking at the planet below. Jiho came to stand beside her. What happens now? She asked. Now you choose, Jiho said. You can stay here on the colonies. Start a new life. Or you can stay with us. Keep flying. Your choice. Hana didn't need to think. I want to stay with the crew. With my family, Jiho smiled. Then, welcome back aboard, crew member Hana. But as they walked back to the ship, Hana saw the news displays. The guild was furious. Other species were calling humans arrogant. Trade agreements were being threatened, and somewhere out there, Taman was still hunting. The fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. The message arrived 2 weeks after the hearing. No words, just coordinates and a timestamp. Taman was done talking. He was coming for Hana, and he didn't care about human law or judges or anything except completing his contract. It's a trap, Minho said, looking at the coordinates. Neutral space. No jurisdiction. No protection. He's gathered a fleet, Yuna added, checking intelligence reports. 12 ships. Bounty hunters and guild enforcers. They're going to take her by force. Hana sat at the galley table, feeling cold despite the warm air. I'll go. I'll meet him. Maybe if I surrender, he'll leave you all alone. No, Jiho said firmly. But, no, he repeated. We've been through this. We don't trade people. Then what do we do? Hana asked. We can't fight 12 ships. We can't run forever. Eventually they'll catch us. Jiho was quiet for a long moment, staring at the navigation charts. Then he did something Hana didn't expect. He smiled. We do something very human, he said. We make this everyone's problem. He opened a communication channel. But instead of a private line, he broadcast on every frequency used by human ships. Public. Open. Where everyone could hear. This is Captain Jiho of the Times, Daehan Dawn *, he said. 2 weeks ago, a girl named Hana was granted asylum in human space. She was freed from slavery. Given rights. Told she mattered. Now the Valon Guild has sent hunters to take her back. They're going to ambush us in neutral space because they know human law can't protect her there. They think if they can't have her in human space, they'll just take her in the void where no one can see. He paused. So, I'm making sure everyone can see. We'll be at these coordinates at the specified time. If you believe what Judge Salmon said, if you believe that sapient beings aren't property, if you believe that some things matter more than profit, then come. Stand with us. Or don't, and let them take her. The choice is yours. He closed the channel. The ship was silent. That was either brilliant or insane, Minho said. Probably both, Jiho replied. The journey to the coordinates took 3 days. Hana spent the time expecting nothing. Why would other humans risk themselves for her? She was nobody. An alien. A hybrid. Worthless. But as they dropped out of hyperspace at the coordinates, Hana's breath caught in her throat. Ships. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Filling the space around them like stars. Cargo haulers like Jiho's. Personal transports. Small fighters. Even a few colonial defense vessels, their captains technically on leave but present nonetheless. The comm system exploded with voices. Daehan Dawn, this is the Times Busan Trader *. We're with you. This is the Times Soul Runner *. Standing by. This is Captain Sujin of the Times Incheon Pride *. Let's show them what happens when you mess with one of ours. Tears ran down Hana's face. All these people. All these humans. Here for her. Why? She whispered. Why would they do this? Because that's what humans do, Yuna said softly. We protect each other. And you're one of us now. The enemy fleet arrived an hour later. 12 ships, just like the report said. Sleek hunter vessels bristling with weapons. They stopped when they saw the human fleet waiting for them. Taman's voice came over the comm, no longer calm and cold. Now, he sounded angry. Confused. What is this? Quote, Jiho responded. This is humanity. You wanted Hana? You'll have to go through all of us. You would risk war for one worthless hybrid? Taemin demanded. One creature that even her own species rejected? Are you insane? She's not worthless, Jiho said. His voice was steady, strong. No one is. That's the difference between you and us. You measure worth by utility, by what someone can do for you. We measure it by existence. She's alive. She's sapient. She has dreams and fears and hopes. That makes her worth protecting. This is madness, Taemin said. The guild will see this as an act of war. Let them, another voice cut in. It was Captain Sujin. We're tired of playing nice with species that treat people as property. You want a war over the right to own slaves? Bring it. Let's see how that goes for you. More voices joined in. Hundreds of human captains, all saying the same thing. They would fight. They would stand together. No one was taking Hana. The silence from the enemy fleet was long. Hana could imagine Taemin doing the math. 12 ships against hundreds. Weapons that could destroy a planet if they all fired together. The hunters had come expecting an easy target. Instead, they found an army. This isn't over, Taemin finally said. The guild can file a complaint. Jiho interrupted. We have lawyers for that. But you're not taking her. Not today. Not ever. Now leave. Or we'll make you leave. Another long silence. Then, one by one, the enemy ships turned and jumped back to hyperspace. Taemin's ship was the last to go. His final words were bitter. You've made an enemy today, humans. We'll survive, Jiho replied. The comm system exploded with cheers. The human fleet celebrated like they'd won a great battle, even though not a single shot was fired. Hana sat in the cockpit, crying and laughing at the same time. She had never felt anything like this. This sense of belonging, of mattering, of being worth protecting. Over the next few weeks, things changed. The Valon Guild quietly withdrew their bounty, not wanting to escalate further. Other species watched what humans had done. Some were angry. Others were thoughtful. In the dark corners of 100 stations, hybrids and outcasts whispered about a place where you could be free, where you could matter. Messages started arriving. First one, then dozens, then hundreds. Other hybrids, other rejected people, all asking the same thing. Is it true? Will humans really help us? Hana read every message. Each one was a story like hers. Pain and suffering and desperate hope that somewhere, someone thought they mattered. What do we do? She asked Jiho one evening as they sat in the galley. We help them, Jiho said simply. As many as we can. It'll be dangerous. The other species won't like it. But some things are worth the risk. Minho nodded. We'll need more ships. More crew. This is bigger than one cargo hauler. We'll get them, Yuna said. After what happened at the coordinates, after everyone saw humans stand together, there'll be volunteers. Lots of them. Hana looked at the messages again. Hundreds of people. Thousands, maybe. All waiting for someone to care. All hoping for what she had found. I want to help, she said. I know what it's like. I can talk to them. Help them trust. Jiho smiled. Then that's what we'll do. We'll build a network. Safe routes. Friendly stations. Places where being different isn't a crime. It'll take years, maybe decades, but we'll do it. Why? Hana asked. She understood better now, but she still wanted to hear it. Because you taught us something, Jiho said. You showed us that the things others call worthless are often the most valuable. Your hybrid abilities saved us in that asteroid field. Your unique perspective solved problems we couldn't. The galaxy threw you away, and they lost something precious. We won't make that mistake. A year later, Hana stood on the bridge of the Times Daehan Dawn Times as they approached another station. She wasn't the scared, broken girl anymore. She was stronger now. Confident, she had learned she mattered. Through the viewport, she saw 3 hybrid children being loaded into a waste processor. They were small, scared, waiting to be told they were nothing. She looked at Jiho. He looked back at her and nodded. "Change course," she said. Her voice was steady, strong. "We've got some people worth saving." The ship turned toward the station. Behind them, a small fleet of human vessels followed. Other rescued hybrids. Other believers. Other people who had learned that worth wasn't given by society. It existed in every beating heart, every thinking mind, every person who dared to hope. The galaxy had called them worthless. The galaxy was wrong. As the Times Dayhen Dawn Times docked at the station, Hana felt no fear. Only purpose. There were more people to save, more lives to change, more chances to prove that everyone, absolutely everyone, was worth something. And she would spend the rest of her life making sure they knew it. The stars stretched out before them, infinite and full of possibility. Somewhere out there, someone was waiting to be told they mattered. Hana was coming for them. They all were.